Zilcksound.
You're tuned into Zilcksound, where business gets real, trends get broken down, and you walk away sharper than when you hit play. Brought to you by Zilck.com. Practical news for the modern entrepreneur. Now, here's your host, Rob Henley.
Welcome to Zilcksound. This is episode 1, the very first one. I'm Rob Henley, and I want to be upfront with you about what this show is and what it isn't. It isn't a highlight reel. It isn't a masterclass. Nobody here is going to tell you to wake up at 5 a.m. or visualize your revenue goals. And this is the founder's desk at 11 p.m. And the tagline says it better than I can. Nobody talks about what this actually feels like. So let's talk about it. It's 11 p.m. The workday ended hours ago, technically, but the tab is still open, the cursor is still blinking, and I'm still here doing that thing where you tell yourself you're just going to check one thing and then somehow it's 11 and the desk lamp is the only light on in the building. This isn't a productivity problem. I've read all the same frameworks you have. I've tried the time blocks, the Pomodoro timers, and the eat the frog philosophy. I know the theory isn't the issue is the weight. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't show up on a calendar. It doesn't come from working too many hours. It comes from making too many decisions. And when you're running something online, you are making decisions constantly. Every day is a sequence of small calls that nobody else is going to make for you. What to post, what to fix, what to ignore, what to prioritize, what to cut. Decision fatigue is real and it doesn't announce itself. It just quietly turns a 20-minute task into a 2-hour standoff with yourself. Last week, I spent the better part of an afternoon evaluating 2 project management tools, both free, both functional, nearly identical. I read the comparison articles, I watched the demo videos, I made a pros and cons list, an actual written pros and cons list for 2 tools that were going to save me maybe 15 minutes a day. I chose neither of them. You closed the laptop, stared at the wall. That was my productive afternoon. Here's what Zilck has written about this, and I think they nailed it. Most people are deeply uncomfortable with uncertainty. Entrepreneurs must learn to treat it as standard operating conditions. Easy to say, genuinely hard to live. Because the uncertainty isn't just about the big stuff and this the market, the money, the growth curve. It's the 40 small uncertainties stacked on top of each other every single day. And by 11 p.m., you've used up every ounce of your decision-making capacity on things that will not matter in 6 months. I used to call it perfectionism. It felt more professional that way, more like a personality trait and less like a problem. I just have high standards. That's what I'd say. That's the version I'd tell people at networking events. But here's what it actually was: fear. Dressed up in productivity language and given a very organized to-do list. Fear that if I ship it before it's perfect, it confirms something I don't want confirmed. So I tweak, I rewrite, I test a headline for a campaign I haven't launched yet. I optimize for an audience I haven't built yet. I prepare for failure so thoroughly that I never actually give myself a chance to succeed. Perfectionism is just imposter syndrome with better branding. And imposter syndrome is just the fear that I learned how to use a Notion template. And then there are the tools. At one point, I had 7 dashboards open simultaneously: email analytics, social scheduler, SEO tracker, ad spend, CRM, landing page heat map, all live, all updating. And I was watching all of them and moving in none of them. I told myself I was being strategic. I was being paralyzed. The paradox of optimization is this: the more systems you add to control the outcome, the more cognitive overhead you create and the less actual work gets done. You end up building a very sophisticated machine for monitoring the absence of progress. The tools aren't the problem. The belief that the right tool will finally make you feel ready, that's the problem. I want to be honest about something because this episode is called what it's called for a reason. There's a version of this conversation that ends with a 3-step framework, a morning routine recommendation, a call to action with an affiliate link. I'm not doing that. Not because I don't believe in systems. I do, but because what most of us actually need at 11 p.m. isn't another system. What we need is to hear that this is normal, that the gap between how it looks from the outside and how it feels from the inside is not a personal failure. It is just the honest reality of building something that matters to you. The fact that you're still thinking about it at 11 p.m. doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you actually care, and that's rarer than any tool, any tactic, any growth hack will ever be. Zilck covers this territory well: burnout, decision fatigue, the psychology of high performance, And what keeps coming up across their work is a simple, uncomfortable truth. Your brain lies to you in high-stress situations. It tells you that more information will make the decision easier, more preparation will reduce the risk, that more optimization will make the outcome certain. It won't. At some point, the next right move is just a move. So here's where I'll leave you tonight. Close one tab. Not all of them, just one. Do one thing tomorrow that you've been dressing up as not ready yet. Write the imperfect version. Send the draft. Launch the thing that's at 90% and has been at 90% for 3 weeks. Not because done is better than perfect. That phrase is exhausting, and I'm retired from it. But because the version that exists in the world is infinitely more useful than the version that lives in a browser tab at 11 p.m. I'll try that too. Starting tonight, maybe. Thank you for joining, and be sure you'll hear more from us. Also, let us know your thoughts on social media. Entrepreneurship can be a headbreaker sometimes, and together we can make better sense of what's happening and not only stay afloat, but also get to the next level. Stay tuned. Thank you for listening.
Zilcksound. Zilcksound.